Welcome to Trailblazer, a podcast where we get to sit in and listen to interesting conversations with some of the company's opinion leaders and those whom we regard as influencers and experts in their respective fields. Expect to get the lowdown on topics that you've always wanted to learn more about, vast knowledge about the business, gain a wealth of wisdom and life hacks that we can take along with us in our TP journey.
Hello, Team TP, and welcome to TP Trailblazer. This is Dindan podcasting live and proud from TP Vertis North. Today's episode is incredibly close to my heart, and I think it will resonate deeply with many of you. We're diving headfirst into a topic that's truly foundational for any thriving workplace, SOGI advocacy. That's sexual orientation, gender identity, and expression. And we're going to explore why it's not just a nice to have, but an absolute critical responsibility for our executive leaders to not just support it, but to truly champion it. Joining us today is an incredible individual who has dedicated so much to creating safe, inclusive, and empowering spaces for the LGBTQIA+ community. He is truly inspiring SOGI advocate, the one and the only Ian Fegalan. Ian has been a passionate and vocal leader, consistently pushing for equality, education, and powerful allyship across various organizations. Hello, Ian, and welcome to the show.
Good. How are you?
I'm all good. We are absolutely thrilled to have you today on board. But before we dive into the nitty-gritty, it was nice again meeting you in person during the PFIP's Pride Summit a few days ago. And I like how we kick off this year's Pride Month celebration with that event. And I really heard great feedback from the attendees. And with that, congratulations to you and the PFIP Board of Trustees.
Nice. Thank you also for supporting the events of PFIP, not just you, but to all of our friends and family here at TP. So thank you very much.
All right. By the way, anything exciting happening on your end?
Well, a lot of activities right now, especially kasi, di ba, it's the Pride Month already, and I think it will always be a busy season, not just for PFIP, but of course for all of us who are advocates for the LGBTQ plus mandate and the LGBTQ plus workplace inclusion. How about you? Anything new here at TP?
My God, how can I answer that question? And I wish I can replicate all the energy that we have and doing all these things and making sure that we run every event that we do. But I think I have the energy at least until the end of the month. But to kick things off, of course, could you share about your personal journey as a SOGI advocate?
Mm-hmm.
What was maybe the spark, the inspiration that made you say, this is a role I need to take on?
Nako, walang banggitan ng edad ha. Basta sharing ng history lang. Okay. But kidding
no
aside.
No judgment. This is a safe space.
But kidding aside, so before being part of the board of trustees of PFIP, I have always been an active volunteer. Actually, my volunteering with PFIP was fairly new. About 8 or 7 years ago, I was with a different company before, and then yung company namin kaka-member lang sa PFIP. I remember that they were asking for volunteers and all that, and our first ever activity to join with PFIP, Pride March pa nun sa Marikina. So we were one of the active volunteers, and we really had fun. Not just fun, no, but we found advocacy come to life in other member organizations. Kasi in the workplace, 'di ba, din mahirap hanapin 'yan eh. Activism and advocacy will always be on the streets. But for workplace inclusion, yung company namin before, we're looking for similar-minded companies on how we can further the LGBTQIA+ agenda and advocacies in the workplace. And we are glad that we have found PFIP. So back then, when we became a member, I started to actively volunteer. And I have always been an educator. No, I consider myself as a teacher. And there was this one time that the PFIP was holding a TTT, or Train the Trainer session, for its newly launched SOGI 101 module. So it started then. Kasi ako, imagine, 7 years ago, 8 years ago, I didn't know all of this. Actually, until now, I don't want to consider myself as an expert because the knowledge of sexual orientation, gender identity, and gender expression will always be dynamic. It's not perfect science. As long as the identities of people tend to be understood, that tend to be heard more, then we will get to learn more of understand who we are. Tapos, after nung train the trainer na yun din, hindi ko talaga inakala na na this would be one of my personal advocacies. Kasi, to tell you honestly, after that day, hindi ko talaga siya naintindihan. Diba? Ikaw ba, naalala mo nung umatan ka ng mga training ko ng Soji, naintindihan mo ba siya agad after one day?
No.
Diba? Exactly. Correct. And that's normal because one of the confusing points of understanding the entire knowledge of Soji-esque or Soji-SC, iba kasi yung kinalakihan natin. Di ba? The knowledge that we were exposed to growing up was very, very limiting. No, na parang pag sinabing male and female, that's it. It's not just about talking about your gender identity, but it's the whole tenet ng pagkalalaki and pagkababae. So me, after attending that session, hindi ko din talaga naiintindihan. But I think what I did in order, and now that I feel that I know more about what it is, I tried to research on my own din. When I'm teaching Soji SE, I always keep on teaching myself also. So dun siya nagsimula because I'm a member of the LGBTQIA+ community. I'm an out homosexual man. I also had the experiences. Mm-hmm. And whenever I get to teach about Soji SE, I also get to share my personal experiences. And I think dun mas na-appreciate ng mga tao when they hear someone teaching about Soji-esque or Soji-SC, is they hear the actual experiences of people.
Education or awareness campaigns are supposedly two-way processes. It means that these initiatives or the sessions that we do in PFIP and even internally in TP, to be truly effective, information shouldn't just flow in one direction from educators, from the one who run the session to the audience itself. And then that should be the case, right?
Correct.
I think what I love about the era now is that people nowadays maybe spend more time to do their own research first before resharing or posting anything in social media. I think we kind of learn that way now. And thank you for sharing that, Ian. It's just makes me feel more confident or maybe comfortable about you talking your advocacy. That makes me convinced that it comes from a place of deep empathy, which kind of makes your insights even more impactful to the people that you work with now and deal with.
Nice. Impactful.
Yeah, diba? What does truly allyship from executive leaders look like to you? We hear a lot about it, but how do we move beyond just words and into meaningful action?
Ayan. So one of the things also that we offer for here in PFIP, because me as one of the board of trustees, I'm the education and enablement sponsor. So all the engagements about awareness sessions are under my remit. And the reason I'm sharing this is because we do have our train-the-trainer sessions for our Soji SC module, and katulad nung inatenan mo kanina, Trans 101, and we have a lot more. But when it comes to requests for awareness sessions that are targeting senior leaders, kunwari yung mga executives or C-levels, we only ask the board of trustees to facilitate that. Mm-hmm. The reason being is exactly what your question is. What we need from the senior leaders are different from what we need from the non-C-level executives, no? Siguro managers pababa, iba yung language, no? But senior managers and above, iba talaga. And if you're going to ask me what is that one difference, when we teach Soji SC to the senior leaders, we always ask them to transform that knowledge into what are the things that they can support and pledge on immediately. No, ganun kami. Medyo matapang kami doon talaga. And yun nga yung lagi ko sinasabi, 'di ba, to every time that I speak in front of the members of PFIP. Hindi kasi ako kasing tapang like the activists on the streets, no. But I found my courage in the boardroom because with my years of experience in teaching, I believe that influencing, no matter what your level is part of my gift. So I always ask the senior leaders, no. So the same activities na pinagdadaanan nyo, we ask them to do that too. But the main difference is that what are the things that we can do now? Okay, what are the things that you can do, your team? What are laws, procedures, no? I'm not asking you to enact them immediately, but is there an issue right now that is being asked from you and your team that is related to workplace inclusion? Of course, we don't get to solve for immediately because you know how it is, diba? For senior leaders, they have to really discern all of these issues and how the entire company will be affected. They tend to appreciate that they are being asked straightforwardly. We can't expect our senior leaders to be prophets also, 'di ba? Hindi naman nila alam agad kung ano. So they really get to appreciate that. And I'm happy to say that I've worked with a lot of member firms of PFIP na ang goal nila lagi pag nagpapa-member sila, sabihin nila, Ian, we want to become a member because we want to have access to your training sessions. But I asked them also, ano bang goal natin? Bakit nagre-request kayo ng training? Tapos then they will always say, kasi po yung senior leaders namin, although they are open to it, well, number one, ganon, they require them to do so, but they want to teach these executives also why this is important to us. And I cannot name names, but we have a lot of member companies in PFIP na after nung session ko ng SOGSC natin sa kanila, ay naging big sponsors na ng events natin every year. Siyempre, magpo-propose ko kunwari, 1 million budget for diversity, equity, and inclusion. Okay, but what is the purpose behind it, right? And that's where we come in. And that's why I always say that education and awareness is one of the cheapest but most effective and most impactful tool to help raise the agenda of the LGBTQIA+ workplace inclusion. But the true spirit of being a leader is, number one, being open to be educated on the things that you do not know. And, diba? And number two, to really act on those knowledge that you have gained. Hindi naman pwedeng nag-aral ka lang, diba? So, yun ang that's what we always ask to our leaders, being open to be educated, and number two, transform that knowledge and make sure that it becomes a process, a law, a standard within your company to help the LGBTQIA+ talent. So yun.
You know what?
Parang ang dami ko bang sinabi, friend?
Yeah, I'm literally taking down notes of some of the highlights, at least or based on that conversation. But what I think I got now, or trying to understand, is true allyship from executive leaders goes far beyond just supporting the Pride Month activities, and maybe for some just simply changing your profile picture in Facebook and also posting a rainbow flag during Pride Month, or just posting a statement, a newsletter statement to all the employees that you have in the company. But it's more about the consistency, the visibility of the leaders, the executive leaders per se, and the proactive commitment. And
exactly.
I think it looks like leaders not just understanding it, but really actively educating themselves on SOGSC issues and other concerns in the community.
Correct.
I'm learning a lot from you from this conversation.
Perfect.
But with that being said, why do you think it's still so important, or maybe so vital, for the executive leaders or the leadership teams to actively support SOGI programs and policies in the workplace? Isn't like we have started already years ago? What's in it now that we're doing it again, like every other month, every year that we do celebrate Pride Month? What's the real impact on the employees when this support is genuinely there?
This may sound like cliche, but for all of our listeners who are also HR practitioners like me, whenever people are happy, they tend to stay. And I think
Mhm.
that's one of the things that every company will measure, no? Attrition and development of their key talents. I'm saying this because whenever minorities or underrepresented classes in workplaces see that their senior leaders value, celebrate, understand, and accept their differences, every time that there is a healthy amount of diversity, equity, and inclusion, every time that there are belongingness activities, engagement activities, these tend to ensure that everyone is happy. That may sound fluffy, that may sound a little bit corny, but whenever they hear that, whenever they see those active involvements, active engagements from the senior leaders, they tend to stay because they feel valued. And whenever a person feels valued, they're happy to work and they're very
They're
productive.
productive.
Exactly.
Correct.
Ikaw ba naman ang saya-saya mo, iiwan mo yung kumpanya mo? Hindi na. Unless siguro maganda yung offer from another company. Right? But kidding aside, whenever you're happy, thoughts of leaving will be on the sideline na. Hindi mo na talaga siya may isip. That's why it's important for us to have champions like managers, directors, CEOs, presidents of the company. Because, and I think many of our LGBTQIA plus siblings will understand, the fight for inclusion will always be taxing. The fight for inclusion will always be, it's nakakapagod.
Mhm.
So when that time comes that we are already pagod, that we're already exhausted, we need the strength of the allies. We need the strength of our leaders. We need their strength. We need their voice to pick us up and to amplify us.
What's interesting is that recently we just had our TP Pride Kwertuhan, where one of the questions that we asked our employees or our participants is that how does a strong sense of belonging contribute to employee engagement, productivity, innovation, and even retention in the organization? I got a lot of feedback from the team when they start having that conversation. But I think more so, it means that being able to really have them show their authentic selves in the workplace without
Ayan.
exhausting burden of the code of switching from one different persona to another persona when they go to work, something like that, um, helps them to be more productive. And I think employees want also just for the companies that align with their values and have that strong social inclusion policies. And then it should
Mhm.
have been more human-centered organization. It's not just good for people, but it's good for business. So I'd say it's a win-win for both employees and the company, right, as a whole.
Mhm.
What are some of the challenges you think still exist when it comes to SOGI inclusion at the leadership level, and what are some ways we can start to dismantle those, if there's a way?
Yeah, I think benefits will always be not a barrier. Perhaps one of the things that really need to be to put more focus on, no, because not all companies will have equal and equitable benefits for heterosexual employees to employees that identify as part of the LGBTQIA plus community. Case in point, although we have made progress when it comes to partner benefits for HMO or for Medicard, not all companies will have that. Let's say, for example, perhaps small to medium and to SMEs in the Philippines may not have that, may not have the capacity to do that, right? So same-sex benefits, infrastructure changes like the all-inclusive restrooms that can cater to all genders, right? Regardless of your SOGI-esque, because that is infrastructural change, no? But I think if you're going to also ask me the question, what are the easiest ones that get to always be addressed is the dress code policy, right?
Mhm.
No need to
That's correct.
no need to implement any forms of or use any budget, di ba? Less impact, less effort but high impact, because whenever a person gets to dress with whatever gender that they identify with, it brings them that sense of validity, But when it comes to general points, when it comes to issues that will always be that will always need to have like focus from the senior leadership team, mahirap talaga. Hindi din naman natin pwedeng ibigay lahat sa shoulders ng senior leaders, ng executive leaders, the na parang magic wand to really eradicate all oppression, no? Whenever they start to invite trainings, no, trainers to teach them about it, when they start to attend symposiums, conferences, when they start to consult on how to really address those, I think that's a start. But one of the things that would really inspire change is getting to the root cause of it all, no? Why do you think that your company is not ready for workplace inclusion, regardless of their SOGSC? Meron tayong PFIP playbook. Okay? It's open to anyone. Yan. So may access po kayo doon, not just because you're a member, but we actually opened it to all companies in the Philippines if they're starting their journey when it comes to workplace inclusion. Aside from the playbook, there are other things that you can do on our website. That's pfip.com.ph.
We really need to continue, and maybe I can't think of any term, but maybe push for the education and these trainings for leaders that goes beyond basic awareness. It needs to build empathy and more provide practical tools for this program to really make it effective. I heard you said some excellent points on breaking down those barriers, but Ian, it takes a courage and commitment, of course. And having that said, my final question for is that I think this will be incredibly helpful for many of our listeners. What's your best advice for taking that first step and genuinely and respectfully?
One of the things that we mentioned to our allies is that as for some LGBTQIA plus individuals, that their coming out is a journey. Being an ally is a journey as well. The reason we say that is because even our allies become target of discrimination. Especially siguro perhaps in countries like ours na madaling tuksohin ang mga tao, di ba? Pag nakita nila, let's for example, a straight person, no, a straight man who is actively being an ally, tutuksohin ng mga katropa. Oh, siguro bakla ka din, no? Hindi mo lang sinasabi, bakla ka, di ba? It's a little bit funny and comical, but imagine 2025 that's still true.
2025 diba? Na, my God.
Correct. Diba? So parang iniisip ko din na parang okay, if our allies are now being attacked because they want to actively support us, then we need to understand that they also have their journeys as well. And that's what I always say. We don't want our allies to just perform it. No, we don't want them to be performative. But really, be an active ally and help us transform the world. Ayaw din natin silang madaliin because we don't want their allyship to be performative and half-baked. So, if it is a journey for people like them to be true allies, what are the things that they can do throughout that journey? Number one, and paulit-ulit ko itong sasabihin, really educate yourself.
Yeah.
Diba? And it is okay kung naka-attend ka ng SOGI SC 101 na training at hindi mo siya naintindihan on that day. That's normal. Right? But as long as you keep... Totoo, di ba? I mean, kahit sa atin sa mga part of the community, hindi naman talaga natin naintindihan sa agad, right? Because how we were raised, right? So, continuously educating yourself. Number two, perhaps talking to other allies. No? What are perhaps benchmarking talaga. Sharing of best practices with other allies, di ba? What else? Trying to understand and listen to the plight, to the hardships, and to the lived experiences of the LGBTQIA plus community. I think that will help the journey towards really being a transformative ally.
Yeah, I think what I like about your answer with that is we don't put so much pressure to the leaders as well to be really an ally. I think it's take two to tango, or maybe let them go through the process And maybe the next step is to really educate themselves on the terminologies, issues, and concerns that the LGBTQIA plus community really face, especially nowadays. And also basic of knowing the difference between the sexual orientation and the gender identity and understanding what pronouns are. And that's actually basic. It's a fundamental right. And just being simply being there and be visible with the team, I think something that we can all be start from there. I think everyone will be able to be an ally the next day. And it's a genuine step, like what I've said. Genuine step forward makes a difference.
I love that.
But yeah, I love this podcast episode, Ian. I'm learning a lot from you, like what I've said earlier today. But before we wrap up, we're giving you the floor. Is there anyone you'd like to thank or maybe promote or perhaps give a shout out to our incredible TP family, friends, and teammates?
Well, first of all, thank you very much for inviting me. We've always had the PFIP management team and the PFIP board of trustees have always felt the support of TP, no? Not just being paid members, not just being paid members, but we've seen throughout the years the volunteerism, no? So if your senior leaders are listening to this, I know that there have been active volunteers aside from you, din, no? Hector has always been an active volunteer. Your company lent us, I think, the boardroom because it was the strategy planning also of the board of trustees for the whole day. Jeffrey has we've been inviting him for speakership, for talks, and leaders like him. No, and I hope that Jeffrey hears this now. But leaders like him, who is not just actively approving budgets, but showing up, using his voice, using his authority to really be a backbone support for our community. We need more leaders like him. So for the whole TP and to the TP Pride and to all of the employee resource group, PFIP will always be here to support you as you have always been supporting PFIP. So thank you very much for all of your help.
Give a special thanks to you for sharing not just your knowledge, but your passion and your conviction with us today. Thank you again, Ian Fegalan, for sharing not just your wisdom, but truly your heart with us today. It's abundantly clear that SOGI advocacy is not just a nice to have in the workplace, but an undeniable leadership responsibility. To everyone listening, if you're in a position of influence, now's the time to use your voice and your seat at the table. Allyship means listening, learning, and showing up even when it's uncomfortable. Especially then, let's build a culture where everyone feels safe to be exactly who they are. That's when we all thrive. Thanks for tuning in to TP Trailblazer Podcast. Be sure to follow us for more stories and conversations that truly matter. Until next time, lead with the heart and lead with pride.
The Trailblazer Podcast is an initiative of the HCRM team and is produced by Dylan Oteza with supervision by Army de los Reyes, executive guidance from Jeffrey Johnson and Rachel Cacabelos.
I don't want your number, no. I don't want to give you mine, and no. I don't want to meet you, no, and no. I don't want none of your time, and no.